Hi, everyone, and welcome to SoundStory. I'm Randy Karraker. It is great to have you with us as we take a look at the life and times of Judy Wickham. And Judy, first of all, great to see you. Great to meet you. This is a thrill for me.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with this. Where and when were you born?
I was born in 1940 in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Okay, and what was it like for you as a kid, as far back as you can remember, whether it's 5, 6, 7, what was it like for you as a youngster growing up at that time and in that place? Just games that you might have played with friends, or what do you remember about school? Just what was it like for you? Was it fun?
It was fun. It was a good community to grow up in. A lot different pace than it is now. I have 4 siblings, so there was a lot of activity. In the summer times, we had I had a cabin on the Osage River.
Great.
And we would go down there and spend the summer. Had a lot of good friends down there. And my grandparents both lived in Jefferson City, and aunts and uncles. So it was a lot different than it is now for kids. All the family were around.
And you talk about having the cabin on the Osage River for the summer. That must be such an idyllic, especially at that time, existence, right? To be there on the river with, like you say, all your friends and having the opportunity to play.
Down the river on inner tube, and couldn't even swim. We've all, our cousins have all talked about it. My gosh, we couldn't believe what our parents let us do. I mean, they were all with us,
right?
But it was a different time,
right? Yeah, you were allowed to go out, and you didn't need that supervision. Like every kid now is totally supervised, right?
Absolutely, yes. And we get on our bikes in the morning and leave for the day with a sack lunch.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it really was.
Yeah. Where did you fall with your siblings? So 5 kids in your family, is that right? 4 siblings?
5 children. I was the middle child.
Okay. And
my parents had what they called their second family.
I got it.
There were 3 of us, and then 10 years later, my 2 brothers came along.
And how did you like that, especially with them being brothers?
Oh, it was great. That was great. And I'm still so close to them.
That's great. And what about your older siblings, brothers, sisters?
A brother, an older brother, and an older sister.
And it must have been, again, when we go back to that time, a real benefit to be able to observe older siblings, right?
Absolutely. I've always said that. You see both sides, you know. And time changed so much during that time. I mean, my younger brother, who I'm really close to, he was raised completely different than me. Because my dad had a lumber company and it was successful. When I was little, they were struggling to, make ends meet, and it was just a different life completely.
Well, and our world changed, didn't it? When you were 5, the World War II ended, and we got into such a different time. We had the baby boom, and the economy was so good. For example, when you were 10 or 15 years old, and we were in the midst of a baby boom, do you remember what that was like?
No, I don't really. I remember, like, during the war, my 2 uncles were at Pearl Harbor.
Oh, wow.
So that was always talked about a lot. But now, what year did you talk about?
Well, so you were born in 1940, and
correct.
45 the war ends, and by the time you're about 10 years old, the United States was really going.
Yes.
There were a lot of good things happening, and like you said, the lumber company, a lot of homes being built, and your family was successful.
Right.
Your dad was successful.
Right.
I'm sure in large part because of that, right?
Correct. But during that's far enough back that I don't remember a whole lot. During that age span.
Did your dad ever have you help with the business, or did you kind of stay away from that?
No, but my husband worked for him.
Okay.
When he was in college.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. But I also want to ask about you as a student. How were you as a student?
How was I as a student? Now, when I was younger.
I
always liked school. I liked the people, but I wasn't a real studious person. Never have been.
So, and you obviously had great ambition, though, because here you are. What do you remember about high school, about what you wanted to do once you were out?
When I was in high school, most of the kids didn't go to college back then. And I met my husband, and, I love kids. I was ready just to get married and have a family.
How did you meet your husband?
I met my husband. His sister was in my Sunday school class, and his mother and my mother were friends from church, but not, they knew each other. And his little sister, because his family had a second family the same as mine. We call it, because it was with the two parents. But,
sure.
so
with the younger kids.
We always refer to them as their second family, because there was enough time in between, And his little sister used to always talk about her brother was coming home from, because he had joined, as soon as he got out of high school, he joined the Navy. And so he'd been gone for 6 years. But anyway, then our high school had a 2-year junior college. And he came back and started college, and I was a senior in high school. And that's how I met him.
Okay.
But our families knew each other, so it was...
So, do you remember your first date or the first time you did something together?
Oh, yeah, because at that time, you could leave the school for your lunchtime. And he was the only person that had a car. He was older. He was 4 years older than me. And he'd take all of us. We'd load in his car. Didn't have seatbelts back then or anything. And all of us would get in his car, and we'd go someplace to a drive-in restaurant, because you could leave the school for lunch, too.
Oh, that's great.
We had a smoking room in our school.
Really?
It was completely different.
Right, no doubt.
But anyway, so that's how I met him, because we used to go out for lunch and stuff,
And then as the relationship evolved, when did you think to yourself, hey, this guy's pretty special?
I think right away.
Really?
It's funny, I can remember telling my girlfriends, I could just marry him. And they said, do you love him? I said, no, I don't know him well enough, but he was great from the minute I met him.
So, and during that time, you also were working in a jewelry store, right?
Correct.
What did you do in the jewelry store?
I just waited on people, but I was the person that owned the jewelry store I used to babysit for. So he asked me if I'd want to work at the jewelry store after school and, on the weekends. And that was a lesson within itself, really. But it ended up that, I, as much as selling, I was writing the checks and doing, because I worked there all through high school, I guess.
So what made it a lesson for you?
Just people and business.
And those are things that you can't learn in school, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and on the weekends, I would imagine that sometimes the owner wasn't there and you were probably in charge as a youngster, right?
When I look back on it, I really would do the payroll. I was in high school.
Did you learn about the actual jewelry side when you were selling? Somebody comes in and says, hey, we're getting married. Did you have the recommendations and say, okay, well.
I did, but what I'd forgotten about until a few weeks ago. I was talking to one of the grandkids. I learned how to write on jewelry. What's the word I'm trying to think?
Engrave?
Engrave. I learned. I used to do their engraving.
Wow.
And at the time, it was just really neat to be able to do it,
Yeah, that's great.
So you learn something in everything that you do.
Right. Oh, no doubt. And then you got married pretty soon after you met, right? After you and Fred
year
met?
later.
Okay. And how old were you at that time?
I was 2 weeks of being 18.
Oh, wow. And he, was he in the military at that point, or was he?
No, he was out and he was in college.
Okay. But pretty quickly after that, you started having kids. And this is
2 years later.
Okay, 2 years later.
Yeah.
And you have, of your 5 kids, they're all born in different states?
Absolutely.
Why did that happen?
Because he was in the service.
Okay.
We moved to Dallas from Jefferson City. His parents had moved to Dallas, and he went to SMU there. And I'm trying to think. It's been a long time. He didn't have his degree. He was in engineering. He was going to be an electrical engineer. And there was a recruiter on the campus. And I don't know how it happened. If anyone would have told me that we'd end up in the military. I'd think no way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the recruiter said that with his grades and what he'd experienced, he knew that he could get a scholarship. So he signed up, and we shocked everyone. Moved to Biloxi, Mississippi, and there was about a year before we knew whether he really made the program. But once he was accepted, they promoted him, and we went to the University of Wyoming, and they paid for everything.
Oh, great.
By then, we had one child.
Okay.
And
And where was that one child born? Was that Dallas?
that was in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about the second one?
The second one, we were in Wyoming.
Okay.
And that's where it all started. And then when my husband graduated, we were stationed in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, that started a whole new experience, being in the military, you know. And so that I had a child in Florida.
Uh-huh. And that would have been Matt that was
That
born?
would have been Matt, was
Okay.
born in Florida.
And then where was Greg born?
Greg was born in Los Angeles.
Okay. And then finally Sarah.
And finally, Sarah, we'd ended up back in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And she was born at Whiteman Air Force Base.
Oh.
Knob Noster.
Yeah. All right. Judy made an interesting comment. You said, we never figured that we'd be in the military. It sounds like you and your husband were quite the team.
We were.
What made you a team? Why did you mesh so well together?
Love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was love, pure love.
And that's interesting because when you go back to your friend asking, hey, do you love him? You said,
Yeah.
I don't know. But either you fell in love or it was meant to be, right?
It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
So, and you said you never imagined that you would be a military family. As it turns out, how did that go? How did you enjoy being a military family?
It was a great experience. We didn't like all the moving around.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to be, and that's why my husband retired when he was 39, which back then it didn't seem that young. We
Right.
realize now it was, you know. But, you know, met a lot of interesting people, see different ways that people live. But during that time, we were so busy with 5 children.
Right.
By the time he could retire, then we knew that we'd gone to Nebraska too, and by the time he retired, he didn't even consider going into engineering. He'd always wanted to farm, and neither one of us are from a farm family. And we stayed in Warrensburg and bought property and bought a farm.
And what did you raise on the farm? Was it
Cattle mostly, but crops.
so? And how did he and you go about learning about being farmers if you had no experience doing it?
Oh, through people and just looking into it.
Just kind of the school of hard knocks.
Right.
It's getting the experience.
Right. Yeah.
So, and did it wind up being what you expected it would be when you and he said, "Okay, let's get into farming"? Was it what you expected?
For him to want to farm?
No, just in terms of the experience that, from your standpoint. Did you think it would be easier, more difficult, different than it was?
It was a real learning experience, especially the money it takes to farm. We bought cattle while he was still in the service. And I know the first time he had to go to, you know, in the service you go to a lot of schools. And I remember we bought eight cows, and that was really a big thing. But he was gone when they were starting to birth, you know. And I remember, you know, having the kids there and us seeing the cows born, and it was unbelievable.
Do you have a veterinarian come over, or did you have to do that?
Oh, the cows did it on their own.
Oh,
I'm sure
you
I had
didn't
a
have-
vet there checking too, but just the experience of being there and you know, seeing them born and everything was really something.
And what a great experience for your kids too, huh?
Oh yes, yeah.
So, looking back, how did farm life help or affect your family?
You know, it's an interesting question because when my husband was in the hospital dying of cancer, the doctors would sit and talk to us, and they'd say, "We just can't believe the way you're handling this." But you learn about life and death on the farm. You really do. It's you plant things and they grow and they die. You have animals and they have babies and they die, and that's part of life.
What a great, I never even thought of that analysis before, but it does make all the sense in the world.
Does.
And do you think that obviously he impressed doctors who see that sort of thing every day? What did that process for him teach you? As he went through the process of dealing with cancer and impressed the doctors, how did that affect you? Were you struck by how he handled it too?
It didn't surprise me because that was him. He always faced life head on, you know. He was. It happened. We have to accept it.
Yeah. And how have your, and I know they have, how have your kids helped you since his passing?
I've got the best kids in the world. They've just been there for me.
So, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable.
So, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to learn about some other things. Number one, going back to the service, and so your kids, but your grandkids, and ultimately your great grandkids are going to be watching this, and they're hearing about moving around from state to state, and they say, well, you know, it seems like when people go into the military, they have to go overseas. Did he ever have to go overseas, or was there the threat of him being overseas once you were together?
No, he really didn't. In fact, we wanted to go overseas. But he was an electrical engineer, and there just weren't jobs for him there. That wasn't. Now, when we were stationed in Florida, almost all of our neighbors were in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
So you're experiencing it through them.
Right.
But there really wasn't a threat of him having to go.
So, but you wanted to. Where would you have liked to have gone?
Oh, I think at one time, like, we thought it would be neat to go to Japan. And just to get the experience of living in another country.
Right. Yeah. Did you ever get the opportunity to travel much? And he obviously at 58, we lost him way too soon. But did you ever get the opportunity to go overseas and travel? I know you've seen most of the United States.
This is what's unreal about my life. I've gone on mission trips, and I've seen the whole world practically. It's just. When my husband died, I thought my life had just ended. I didn't think I'd ever be happy again. So you just don't know what God has planned for you. Because I look back on it, and it was terrible, but I've still had such a good life. I've met so many great people, and it's been good.
I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but you said you never thought you could be happy again. What has made you happy?
Life. People I've met, the things I've gotten to do. Oh, and for sure, my family. My family's just...
Yeah. And tell us about Haiti.
Oh, gosh. Haiti, we got there. I went with my son, Matt, and rode on the back of an open-faced flatbed truck, and I was covered with soot by the time we got where we were going. And the people there are just wonderful. We built a church, and I know that last day the church was built, and it was so foreign what they do. I mean, they really carried the water in on top of their heads, and the people maybe we couldn't talk, but you learn to love each other just by being with them. Like what I did, we had would be like our. We teach them how to take care of themselves. And I remember they'd wash my hair every day in front of them, show them how to wash your hair, And the little brothers and sisters were all there taking care of each other. And we built the church, and the last day, you wish that everyone could experience. We stood in this church that we'd built, singing Amazing Grace.
Wow.
And holding hands, and I always said that's the way heaven's going to be.
Oh.
You know, they're different colors and they're different people, and but you're united.
Yeah. One thing that I don't really have an appreciation for, and even though I know it, I think until you see it, it's hard to appreciate. But I have a friend who has done missions down in Haiti and said that they were in the vehicle and there were people in the middle of the road. And why are these people in the middle of the road? Well, it was because there had been rain the night before and there was a puddle in the middle of the road, and that's where they were getting their water.
Oh,
this was
yeah.
before they had put wells in, and it was a professional athlete, and his foundation wound up helping put wells into the ground so that they could have water. But I can't imagine having to get your water from literally the middle of a gravel road.
I know.
And that's what they're dealing with,
Yeah.
right? You see that all over that area.
Yeah, you do. And they're so appreciative of anything you do for them. They love you. We'd throw candy to the kids as you'd go through. You know, as the truck went through, we'd have candy that we'd throw, because if they see Americans come, they line like you're a celebrity or something, you know. Mm-hmm. And we'd throw the candy, and they love that. And then I got back, and the town that I lived in had their college homecoming parade, you know, and here'd be kids that standing because they'd throw candy like that the same way. You see how really people are all alike.
How did that experience, though, helping build the church and dealing with, but helping them out, how did that affect you? Did it change the way you approach life at all?
Oh, yes.
How?
All those experiences do. Just shows that you can survive anything. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to stay open-minded and accept people for who and what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the effect that you can have on people's lives,
yeah.
right? And what we think is not a big deal is such a big deal to them. That's what I'm getting at.
And I remember my son told me when I went to Brazil, he said, like if you see rubber bands on the table next to the kid's bed, you know, don't touch anything in their room, because those are toys to them. Those are that's what they. And I thought that was so interesting because they love anything like that because they have such little things.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to go back to when your kids were little. So you have the first one in Dallas, and how did you approach first of all, you've got one and you make the move. How did you approach moving a family of one child, 3, and then a group of 4? Was it easy for you to move around? How did you approach it?
It's busy. Gosh, I don't.
So, because number one, with Fred, your oldest, how old was he when he moved the first time? Was he school age yet, or was he not? So probably not.
When we moved from Dallas we moved to Mississippi, he was a baby.
Okay.
He was still a baby.
Uh-huh. So what I'm getting at is we hear about military brats. And,
mine weren't brats.
But I just, you know, it's a euphemism, but they're not brats, but they move around and they develop outgoing personalities because they have to, because they're meeting new people all the time.
Yes.
Was that the case?
Oh, yes, yeah. But, you know, we were stationed every place long enough that they made their friends, and it wasn't like we moved every year. Back then, you stayed in places longer.
Uh-huh. Did you make any lifelong friends at any of the stops or at all of the stops?
Oh, yeah. I still have friends and maybe we don't talk to each other. One friend that I had when we were stationed at Whiteman, and they were with us in Nebraska, too. Like, I hadn't seen them for years, and we met up in Washington, D.C. a few years ago, and it was like we'd never been apart. Because we shared so much. So. You know, that's the thing. When you live and there isn't family around, you get really close to the people that you know, their family.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, isn't it? There
It
really
is.
is a military lifestyle. So, okay, so I want to talk about your kids as they were kids. So, what sort of a baby was Fred, your oldest?
Gosh, this is going to be hard because that's going back a long way. And I was watching my grandkids, some of my great grandchildren today. There was a whole room full of them, and I thought, I don't really remember
So,
when my kids were so little. I think it's because you're so busy.
right, yeah.
But now you asked me what Fred was like.
Yeah, just like personality traits, easygoing. Was it, was he rambunctious? Those sorts of things. Energy, and I guess when you have 5 little ones, and they were all, let's see, 64.
They were 2 years apart.
Yeah, so you had a high energy household going, didn't you?
Absolutely, yes, we did. We did.
So how did, for example, Fred and Doug, how did they get along? Were they tight, or were they?
No, they always got it. They got along good. I've said this to Doug, like I always hoped that Doug would wake up first, because if Fred woke up before him, then Doug would be in a bad mood. He wanted to be up before Fred. That little things like that I still remember. But they all got. I mean, they had their fights with each other.
Sure.
For sure. I mean, that's just normal.
Well, especially with the 4 oldest, all boys,
Yeah.
right? I would imagine that there was some wrestling that went on.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. And they'd love to fish and do things with their dad. Fish and hunt, and the older ones did more than by the time Fred and Doug, and they still like fishing a lot, and hunting, and your life just changes with age. And like by the time Greg, he's my last boy, it was golf.
Okay.
And Matt was kind of in the middle, so he's done all that. I don't know.
Did your husband Fred, did he do any golfing, or was it
Oh
just...
yeah, he was a big golfer. By the time Greg was a teenager, they were playing golf together.
So, and one of the things, like, for example, when you move out to LA, it's not as easy to find a fishing hole, right?
Right. But we weren't in LA for a real long time. We really didn't like. In fact, Fred was gonna get out of the service because we didn't like living like that. That was, and then that's when they let us move back to Missouri.
Okay. Well, why? Why did you?
Well, just the traffic, the people. Like we lived in a neighborhood. We didn't live on base. My husband worked where he had to drive into Los Angeles, and we never met our neighbors until we put stuff out when we were going to move. They came over and asked if they could have the used TV or whatever it was. But it's just a completely different way of living, and that wasn't our style. Didn't.
Sure. You seem to be you fit well in the Midwest, right?
Very well, yes.
Yeah. How hard was it for you, whether Fred's in the service or spending all of those hours working on the farm, and you are the mother of 3 or 4 or 5? How hard was it to be the mom that had to handle everything? You did all the cooking. I'm sure you did all the laundry. You did all those things. That's more than a full-time job.
It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
But that's where I was so lucky. I didn't go to work. I worked at home. That was my job, and I loved it. I mean, that's a big difference. Now the women, are going to work, and it's a completely different story. They absolutely amaze me what they do. I've got daughter-in-laws that all of them, I just can't believe, they go to work, but they get things done too.
It's multiple full-time jobs, right? It is.
Because they still get to all the kids' events and.
And what about you? Because your kids obviously had events too. Was that another part of it? Did your kids play sports and
oh, yes.
have a lot of activities?
They all did, yeah.
So.
And I always volunteered a lot.
Oh, good.
So
What are some of the memorable things? What they played or what they did? Whether it's Sarah with dance or football, baseball, basketball. What are some of the things that you remember?
The boys all like sports. They were all in sports. baseball mainly. That they all love baseball. They still do. Sarah wasn't in dance.
Did she do any sports?
She didn't do any sports. No.
Okay.
She's going to say, if she hears this, you don't even remember what I did.
So, well, it's again, like you said, that was a long time ago. Over the years, your family has expanded a lot. You've got son and daughter-in-laws and grandkids, and now great-grandkids. What is it that meant for you to have your family be so big now, and to have so many members of your family?
It's unbelievable how many children I'm connected to now. I call them I have the first batch of grandkids is what I call them, the older ones, and the second batch, because a lot of some of the kids waited till later to have children. Mm-hmm. So I've got my first and second batch, and I'm a completely different grandma with the first batch than I am with the second batch. The ones that are my grandchildren now that are teenagers and in college, they only know me as an older person with gray hair, and and the first batch, I was the active grandma, could do everything, and
right.
But I'm close to all of them, and now of course I've got great grandchildren. So I'm just amazed at the relationship I have with so many little ones.
Yeah.
And like now, when this visit, I have 3 or 4 new babies, and I laughed and said, "Okay, I brought a cheat sheet back, and on the plane I'm studying their names because they're all names, and I can't remember their. I'm worse with names than anything. So it's
it's good to have a little cheat sheet then, isn't it?
Right. But they grandkids are great.
Great. And I know that you're around them now and you really enjoy them. What else do you enjoy doing now at this stage of your life?
This stage of my life has been hard. Just for the last couple of years, I've fallen several times, and I'm very lucky because I'm in good health. But I can't drive anymore, and that's been a lot harder than I thought it would be. I've learned to be at home, and I really enjoyed. I go through a lot of the old things that I have and reminisce a lot, and still in touch with a lot of friends, and I'm still active. I do a lot of things. But it's a real adjustment to change your life completely, that you can't drive. I have balance trouble, so I have trouble walking. And it's been a real adjustment, but I'm getting there.
Good. And I know one of the things that I read was that, and this makes sense, I would imagine that around your house you have a lot of letters, right? You were reading a lot of letters that have been written over the years, and now it's texting, and we don't, as you mentioned, we don't even talk as much, right?
I think that has been the worst thing. It's learning all the technical things has been hard. My poor grandkids, or my kids also, they don't walk through the door that I don't say, "Can you just show me how to do this?" Because I've always been able to do things and take care of myself, and it's just like it's a blank wall. The tech, and not the texting that I can do all that, but so much of it I can't do.
So, did you enjoy back in the day, especially like when you and Fred were not together, writing the letters to each other?
Oh, yeah. And my mom and I wrote letters all the time, and that's the only way you could communicate. And that's what's fun to read. And it was expensive to use the phone, so even to get a long-distance call was such a treat. I mean, it's something that nowadays you have such contact. And I get to see pictures every day of my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and which is great.
Yeah, that is one of the great things about it, because when you were writing letters, if you went a year without seeing a child, that child could go from 4'2" to 5'8" over the time that you were just writing letters.
And now
right?
I'm seeing them every day. These babies, they change every week.
Yeah, that's great.
So.
Is there anything else that you want to do? I know that, like you say, you're coming along and you're getting better, but you've done so much, Judy, with your life. Is there anything else that you want to do?
I just hope I can stay in my home and still be with my family. Hope I can keep my,
Yeah. Keep your mind.
Keep my mind.
I want to ask about your kids, and because you're talking to your family now, and so I'd just like to get a thought about each of your offspring, about your pride in them, what you remember about them, what are some of the individual things about them, and it doesn't have to be completely detailed, just a general thought, okay, about each of your kids. Like Fred, tell us if you can give us a little capsule of Fred the Third. What's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Well, he's done so many things. They've all done so many things.
So what sort of a guy is he?
It's just hard to put into words.
Uh-huh. So what's he do now?
He's an attorney, but he's retired,
Good.
and he's been in a band.
Great.
He's great with music. Makes me cry when I hear him sing. He's there for me all the time. He makes me laugh. He's a character. If he calls me, he's yelling, making jokes.
See, that's what we want to hear. What about Doug? What makes Doug the individual that Judy is proud of and loves? What sort of a guy is he?
Well, he's quieter than Fred. And I'd say he's more serious. I can have long talks with him, serious talks with him. And he starts my day off every day by sending me pictures of his grandkids.
Aw.
And it's just been the best thing.
That's great. What does he do?
Well, he's retired from his first job. It's hard to describe what he does. He retired. He went in the Navy, and then he was in the Navy for 6 years, and then he eventually worked for a bullet company in Sedalia, Missouri. And so now they sold that business, and so he's retired from there, but I have a hard time describing what he does, and he's involved in bullet making.
Okay, got it. Okay. And then what about
he has his own business.
Nice. That's great. Good.
And he's doing great.
Good.
He has a great business.
Good. And then your middle child, Matt. Tell us about Matt.
Gosh. I don't know whether you know Matt, but it's...
So Matt, you went to Haiti with, right?
Yes.
So that tells me something about his personality. A giving personality, a charitable personality?
To everyone and everything.
So, and how great was it for you as a mother to be on that trip with him and see that, what he did in Haiti?
Just every time I'm around him, the things he does for other people is...
Yeah, sounds like a wonderful man that you're very proud of, obviously.
Very proud of him.
All right, and then Greg is your fourth. Tell us about Greg. What's he do for a living, and what kind of a guy is he?
Greg was a school teacher, and he just retired recently. And he's, like Matt, has always been a runner and in sports. And Greg lives right around the corner from me, so Greg is the one that... been the one that sent me through a lot of rough times.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Takes care of you, huh?
well, they all do, though. That's why I don't want to make this sound like one's better
No,
than the other.
it sounds like you have a fantastic family. It does. And then what did it mean for you, after having the 4 boys, to finally have Sarah as your 5th?
It's just great having a daughter. And she has her own personality. You'd have to know her. She lives on a boat.
Mm.
She loves the water. She loves the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
She dives. And she's in the process of, she's going to become a boat inspector. She can do anything. She can fix anything. She got that from her dad.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a very unique person.
So.
And
She sounds wonderful. And she must have had a great relationship with your husband, Fred.
she did.
So.
She just admired all 5 of the kids just admired their dad so much, and I can see him in every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved life, and he was always laughing, and I see that in them. I mean, they're just, if you're around them, you love them. Everyone says that they're just fun to be around.
That's fun, and that's so great for you.
Yeah, I mean it is.
So you got to keep laughing.
Oh, you have to.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
Okay,
but you can see I can cry. Yeah. I'm not a crier except emotionally.
Well, I heard a quote one time that if you laugh once a day and you cry once a day and you make somebody smile once a day, you've got a pretty good life going. And you are one of those people. I want to read you a quote from this is your little questionnaire that you filled out. It said, "Your life really is like a book with different chapters. It's unbelievable what I've been able to do in my lifetime. I feel like I've lived so many different lives. I've never dreamed I'd see as much of the world as I've seen. I've been able to travel so much and do so much through my childhood or through my children and what they've shared with me." And I know this is right off the top of my head. And I'll give you time to think about this. What would the name of that book be for you?
I don't know, but I'm really glad you read that, because there's times that my mind is clearer than at other times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly the way I was feeling when I think it was Hannah that asked me the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't always, and that's why it's frustrating to me to do this, for my kids to listen to it, and that I can't, with each one of them, tell you, because they're all so special to me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt any of their feelings by not being able to remember. If someone brings something up, then I can remember it better.
Well, let's do this. Because you do have your kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and you have a wealth of experiences. What would you want them to know about being happy? If one of your grandkids comes up and says, "Grandma, I just want to be happy. Can you give me some advice about being happy?" What advice would you give to them about being happy?
Well, for me, it's always been walking with God. And I know that not all my family have that relationship with God. I wish they did. I wish that because that's what's taken me through life,
Mm-hmm.
through my marriage, through every bit of my life. It's God. And I've always been able to turn to God.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had my down times like everyone.
Sure.
But I know he answers prayer, not in the way that I would want him to answer when it's happened. But every difficulty that I've gone through, he's pulled me through it. And it's starting out good.
Mm-hmm. You have a wonderful family, and yeah, you're having just a fantastic life. And you're right, all of those difficulties that you go through, and you've learned this, and I know you've thought this, there is a reason for everything that happens, isn't there?
There is. And even now, like I got so I couldn't. I've always been a walker, where I'd walk, and I couldn't walk. My balance is off, and I had these falls, and I just said to myself, I don't care what, I'm going to walk a mile every day. And I've done it.
Good for you.
And being outside in the air. But I've done, I wasn't using an inhaler. They had told me, the doctors had said, try using an inhaler. I'd tried it once. It didn't work, so I didn't. So you kind of have to talk to yourself and make things happen. Good. And
I hope you're using a cane or a walker.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, good.
I do.
So many people have so much pride.
Oh, yeah.
About not using.
I'm getting a hearing aid next month. I've gone and had my hearing tested, but I know now because I misinterpret what everyone says. It didn't bother me to wear a hearing aid. I don't want to learn how to use one. I'm tired of all the technical stuff.
Understood.
So anyway, but walking every day has been great for me.
Good.
It's good for you to get out and get the fresh air. And
keep that up and watch those great grandkids grow up and just enjoy life, right?
Yeah.
So, Judy, it's been so great to get to know you, and I know that your family and friends are going to be so excited about having an opportunity to hear from you and hear about your life story. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's Judy, and I'm Randy. Thanks for joining us on SoundStory.